Welcome. This is Management 3025. Tonight is Wednesday, January the 8th. This is our first class meeting. We will meet approximately every other Wednesday. You can check the course schedule and be sure on that. My name is Roger Strickland. This is Mr. Jimmy Williams. This is Adrian Gunn. We are all equal. We can deal with your problems. Contact any of us, anytime, anything. Adrian, what is your preferred way that they contact you?
I'm here on campus Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. So it's easy for me if you just drop by my office and see me. You can definitely email me or give me a call, but I prefer that you just come by and see me.
Where's your office?
My office is in R207.
R207.
I'm kind of retired, so to reach me, you're going to have to give me a phone call or drop me an email. If you need to meet with me personally, I'm more than happy to do that, but we'll need to make arrangement ahead of time to make that happen. But I have the time, so I'm more than happy to do that at any point.
And my schedule is a little crazy on Mondays and Wednesdays, but outside of that, I'm pretty flexible about whenever we can meet, wherever we can meet. You can always buy me a cup of coffee or get a beer. Best way to reach me is Canvas email. Let's speak to, we've got our biographical sketches on Canvas. You can read a little bit about each of us and what we've done, and if that sparks a particular interest or a question, by all means, either bring it up in class or come and speak with us individually, anything we can do. There are so many things to talk about. I'm going to repeat a couple of things because we're now putting this on video, all right? The assignments are in the form of writing assignments. Right now there are 5 scheduled. Those are subject to change. We may take one that's due later in the term and switch it out, or we may in fact add a 6th and or 7th assignment, and we may add them with very short timelines. Again, indicative of the real world. So you might get an email tomorrow morning that says, we need this writing assignment on this topic at this length, and we need it not later than Friday close of business or Monday close of business. And so you'd have a really short timeline to have to respond to that. That's just to mess with your schedule every once in a while, because that's the nature of the career. The writing assignments have assigned dates, but don't send them in on those dates. We will call for them when we want them. We'll never call for them before the due date, but anytime after the due date, we might write you and say, send me writing assignment number 3 that was due 2 weeks ago. You got 24 hours, please get it to me. That's the nature of writing assignments. When you submit work on Canvas, you go into assignments, click on that assignment, writing assignment number 3, and there's a little submit button, and you just click on that and upload it like you would an attachment to email. The other type of assignments are competencies, demonstrated competencies. Those have fixed due dates, and those due dates are firm. Anything that's late from that is a 50% penalty. Okay so far?
Just know that on the writing assignments, I will tell you that as a manager, those writing assignments can create a first impression. And the reality is, after I read or we read the first couple of writing assignments, you begin to form some impression of what this person's style is, what their methodology is as far as getting things done. Just the whole picture, it starts to take shape. So really pay attention when you submit those writing assignments. Again, they create a really powerful first impression.
Amen. In many cases these days, you really never meet the people you work for face to face. And if so, only briefly. Come in, please. Many times you will be judged and prejudged by the quality of your writing. And so we intend to stick to a pretty rigid, pretty high writing standard in this course. That applies to emails as well. My title is not Hay. My first name is not Hay. Hay Strickland doesn't work. Okay, that kind of thing. Oh gosh.
Who we are?
Yeah, tell us who you are. You look like a preacher from here.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell a little bit about myself. I'm Jimmy Williams. As you can see, I'm a professor here in the management course in the OM program. I also am a professor in recruitment and selection in the same program, which leads to really my background. It is in human resources for those who may be pursuing a human resources.
HR majors here?
Any audio?
Yeah, a couple.
Okay. More than willing to help you talk about careers, talk about pitfalls and all of those kinds of things as we go along. Did the gamut as far as that particular thing is concerned. I'm also retired from the U.S. Army. I spent a little over 20 years in the Army. I'm a local kid, yokel, so to speak. I like to tell folks I actually was a student here at Santa Fe years ago, sitting right where you are in many instances, back when it was called Santa Play and Santa Flush and all of those kinds of things. Things have changed just a bit. So that's pretty much me.
Good. Nidra?
Okay, so I'm Anidria Gunn. Like I said, I'm here Monday through Friday. I'm an advisor over in academic advisement. I also teach college success in addition to this class. I have a little bit of a history in human resources before coming to Santa Fe, and I've been to Santa Fe since 2001. I am here, especially if you need help with Canvas, navigating Canvas, or just understanding the assignments clearly. You're more than welcome to stop by my office and see me.
And my name is Roger Strickland, and I've been here for 33 and a half years. This will be the end of finish my 34th year, and I'm hoping, if I can keep good company around here, I'm hoping I can stay and teach here for another 5 years. I thoroughly enjoy it. My background is military. I went to the University of Florida, went in the Army for 5 years, got out, went to grad school, and not too long after grad school, wound up out here at Santa Fe. I primarily teach economics when I'm not teaching in the management program. This 4-year management degree that we're offering right now has been my lifelong dream for this college since I started. I have known so many students who would finish their first 2 years here and had no other place to go. University of Florida management area, business area, that was for full-time, daytime students. When Nova Southeastern came in and started programs, a few people went through that. I taught in that program, but that was pretty expensive. St. Leo, private school, pretty expensive. Just no options. And so when we finally got the go-ahead to do a 4-year bachelor's degree in management, in anything pertaining to business and organizational management, that to me is a fulfillment of my dream. I am emotionally, heavily invested in this program, and I intend to see it go. But I intend to see that it graduates the best quality students we can. And so I'm the guy who's talking about, I want those standards high. I want our graduates every bit as capable, in fact more so, than the folks down the road. I want to spend a good bit of time in some of our evening classes talking about things like job search. Even if you get the degree, what good is it? Given the economy today, how easy is it to find a job? And I think if you're smart about the way you go about things, you can outcompete the rest of the folks in job search. So I'll be interested in your input. You'll see some assignments sort of associated with that. What else? I'm an Army brat, grew up around the world. Germany, Turkey, Taiwan. I can cuss fairly fluently in all those languages. Justin, we've been waiting for you so we could begin.
I appreciate that.
Amen.
There's another point, and just a little point that Roger just touched on it. A lot of schools, I won't use the word look down, but really that is what they do. If you're not a full-time day student, I can tell you that the quality of the education that you receive here is just as good or even better. I can tell you that people such as yourself who have the dedication, the wherewithal to go back to school or to go to school and work full-time and manage families and all of those stuff will be, I can say this without a doubt, probably the best employees that an employer will have. So pat yourself on the back for being willing to go on and do this.
Amen. Okay, comments, questions, anybody? Okay. a couple of hard news things. There's going to be a midterm. You have a test bank of about 200 questions for the midterm. No answers. The answers are in the textbook. I don't care how you go about pursuing that. You can do it in some organized group fashion, or you can be a rugged individual and by God do it by yourself. Doesn't matter to me, doesn't matter to us. But be advised, you must score a C or better on the midterm to pass this course. The same is true for the final. None of us are about putting up with people who can't do this and think they can make up for it by doing that. You work for me as a manager, I expect you to be able to do it all. Okay? And that means on the exam, if there's going to be different parts. Part of it's on the textbook, multiple choice. Part of it's on the Caproni book, essay questions. And part of it's on using the financial calculator. You've got to make a C on all parts, not just A here and F there. You see what I'm saying? So that's a pretty rigid standard. I mean, you're going to have 6 weeks or 8 weeks for 200 questions. And we're going to pick about 40 of them out. If you can't get 38 out of 40, you didn't put the time in to study. Okay? And that's the kind of standard I hope you will adhere to throughout this program. Teaching folks, you all know you're non-traditional students, right? What's a non-traditional student? Anybody who didn't go right out of high school into college. The average age in this room, look around. What do you think? Give me a guess, anybody?
35.
35? That's my estimate throughout the whole program, that our average student is 30 to 35 years old. Now what that means, and I've taught that age group for many, many years, what that means is you probably are not going to put up with a bunch of nonsense from us. And I think that is superb. If we mess up, if we don't make ourselves clear, I expect you to hold us accountable. The same way we're going to hold you accountable. And that should elevate the performance of all of us. And that makes you a better crew than the 20-year-old sitting down the road who's never been out around the world at all anyway. So when we get ready to sell this program and you get ready to sell you in the job market, you got one other danger. This is an online program. Online degrees in many places are looked as sort of second class. But you will be able to argue that in all of my classes, or virtually all of my classes, we had in-class sessions, I attended, and I got that caliber of education as well. Not simply sitting at home on my computer, never interacting with anybody else. Okay? What else?
What is a financial calculator?
A
Sorry.
financial calculator, I keep mine as a phone app.
Okay.
It was $15 to buy the phone app. It was $35 to buy the computer. I'm slow, but I figured it out, you know. I used to lose one calculator every year. It's a Texas Instruments Business Analyst 2. It's in the syllabus. It's described. You can buy it at Walmart for $30, or you can buy it and put it on a phone for $15. Okay? We will do things like mortgages and loans and, you know, some fairly interesting stuff financially.
We learned a long time ago that the best question is the one that's never asked. There was one there and there was one there.
And one there somewhere. Go ahead.
For the TI-84, are there programs you can download?
I think the TI-84 will do those calculations, but I've never used one, so take a look at it. If it works, God bless you.
And then for the financial calculator on our phone, so for testing purposes, we would be able to use that one on our phone?
That is correct. There'll be a procedure to it. You'll do the multiple choice questions, and when you finish those and turn them in, then here's the financial questions. We had one incident last term of someone who thought she could just reference her telephone as though she were using the calculator and check her answers on the multiple choice. My personal preference is to catch anybody doing that kind of work, you get out of the program. Preferably you're out of the college system in Florida. I got zero tolerance for that kind of unethical behavior.
There was a question back there.
Oh, no, it wasn't really a question.
Oh no, this was an auction. You raise your hand, you got it. Come on.
No, because you were talking about Santa Fe now being a 4-year. I like to consider us like the Walmart of colleges. You got UF, that's like Macy's, you got Dillard's.
Mhm.
But us, we know how to work 24 hours, we give it our all, and It's better than mall hours.
I'm going to take issue with Walmart. I think we are a niche market. We are an unusually, not particularly well-known, but unusually high-quality store that as people discover us, there'll be more of them coming along.
I like
Okay?
that.
I got too many years in down the road at UF, pardon me, that I want to outcompete them in the quality of education we can provide.
I agree with you there.
Good, we're all on the same sheet. Laura?
I don't think I agree with you. I think we're better.
Better than, than down the road?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
See, because, you know, as experience as a business person, I've worked for X amount of years, I don't want to tell my age, but as, you know, the quality of education that I consider I'm getting is superior than that. My son-in-law has a bachelor's degree and master's degree with UF. The bachelor's, he did it here. And comparatively, he said, I wish some of it will have, you know, the next step, because we get real world experience versus a books experience. And yeah, the books experience will take you somewhere, but not all the way that you need to be.
Well, we're selling this program, and remember the degree, Bachelor's of Applied Science. It's an applied degree. It's supposed to send you out of here having usable tools from day one, which, except perhaps in internships, an awful lot of students from Florida, and believe me, I was one, come out knowing maybe what was in the book, maybe, but not a hell of a lot else. Question, comment?
You might not relate, but I just had a question you might know the answer to.
I know the answer to everything.
I'm used to like bachelor's degrees in applied science, and I'm not too sure of all the differences. If I was to complete a bachelor of applied science and then decide down the road to go for a master's degree, would that hinder me that it was an applied science degree?
It could conceivably hinder you in some graduate programs, depending on where you go. But we've got graduates from the BAS degree in Health Services Administration, have gone on and done MBAs and MAs in Public Health. And the graduates programs that I've contacted, it's not a problem. Graduate programs are typically fairly independent in the way they set their admission standards. And if you come through this program with a really good GPA, and particularly, let's say, a pretty solid work experience, you should be able to get into most MBA programs at least. Yeah. Sir?
Do you know if UF offers like an international business degree master's?
I'm almost certain they do.
Okay, would our credits here, credit hours for our bachelor's here be applicable over there?
I don't know the credits, but the degree should allow you entry. But again, I'm going to tell you this for every school. If you're considering that, talk to the school in advance.
All right.
Yeah.
Understood. Thank you.
What else? We don't have a lot of structure for these evening classes. We want to have a lot of give and take. We'll raise an issue here and there and go off on it, but we're looking to you for any kind of things you want to chat about, inquire about, relevant to the program, careers, or relevant to the course and the exams and the assignments.
The senior capstone, program or internship, how does that work?
The capstone program is 3 one-hour courses, and it's designed, initially, it's supposed to be designed so that you take the last capstone after you've taken the 2 seminars. The first seminar, I believe, is primarily a reading, orientation, make your academic plan sort of thing. The second seminar is where you design and arrange an internship or a project. And the third one is where, in between you're completing it, the third one you complete the internship and then report on it back to everybody else. The other thing that happens is your last term, ideally, you take the course in management strategy and policy. And so that's kind of the capstone course as opposed to the experience part. Now, one of the things you'll be doing in this course is preparing your academic plan. And you'll do that probably repeatedly in other courses, just like you'll write resumes till you're sick of them. But we'll be able to take a look at what courses you planning to take this term, next term, et cetera, until you graduate, because we want to make sure you're keeping them in sequence and you're keeping a balanced load. We found that one of the greatest, shortest routes to perdition is to take 4 courses and work full-time and then have kids and parents to take care of. Can't do it. 4 courses is a full-time load for somebody who is not working. And we have a few people that take a full load and work. The ones who are successful like that are in the very small minority. So, Management principles, set yourself up for success. And if this is your first term and you're not sure how bad it's going to get, goodness sake, don't overload yourself. Set it up so it's manageable and you can knock it down, you can learn how it's played, and then if you think you want to increase your load, do it then.
One of the phrases in the introductory materials that you got, it talks about, I can't remember the exact word, but it talks about being organized, being dedicated, but having a bias for action. And one of the ways that we try to get you to that point is through the demonstrated competencies. I'm confident that not everyone in here is totally clear about what those are all about. Am I right?
You're right. The demonstrated competency is going to make you spend more time, more depth of analysis in writing, and it's going to reflect a deeper effort than the writing assignments, which are a little more shallow.
I have another question.
Professor Strickland, I'm familiar with a couple of your previous courses that I've taken with you, and I'm curious, are you gonna have your like online video lectures available online?
No, I don't have any particular,
Not for this course.
you know, we've gotten in here on occasion and talked about a topic here, a topic there, and I'm trying to go back to those videos and edit out, oh, here's 15 minutes on, you know, Maslow's hierarchy or something.
Right.
I haven't got that organized yet,
Okay,
so mostly what you'll see for videos is a replay of whatever we do in the
that's
evening.
fine.
Okay?
What about the team projects? Could you give more of an outline on that?
Team project?
Are we going to work as a group in
Nope.
any scenarios?
The only team illusion I was making was in your preparation for the midterm and studying those 200 questions. I'm kind of from Alabama and slow, but where I come from, if 5 of us divided those questions up, it'd be a little easier.
I will tell you that my experience from last term is there was a core group of folks who got together and they did exactly what Professor Strickland just suggested. And almost without fail, they were the people who had the better grades in the course. So, just a hint.
What was the meeting after this class that was
Good.
posted?
Couple of things. A week from tonight, Wednesday night, 6 o'clock, over in S29 is the orientation for incoming students to the OM program, for the OM and the HSA, Health Services Program, S29. That's going to be a chance where most of the faculty will be there. You'll be able to chat with them, learn a little bit, meet a lot of the other students. They're giving away some door prizes. Last time they gave away an iPad?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And free food. I mean, you know. So we hope you'll show up there. They're going to run it like a speed dating thing. They're going to sit all the faculty down at tables and then say, okay, you got 2 minutes to talk to this guy, 2 minutes to talk to this girl, 2 minutes here, and see how many of them you talk to. It'd be kind of interesting. I know by the time it was over last time, I was ready for a martini. I was exhausted. Now, after class tonight, and typically after classes when we meet at 7 o'clock, the student organization for the OM program meets in this classroom. And I want to encourage you to get involved there as much as you can. There are no dues to join, but you do have to come to a couple of meetings and get involved in at least one project during the term. But they're going to be hosting speakers and other programs. I'll let them describe it when they get to it. In fact, the president, Mike's, coming in here about 6:30 and give a little blurb and ask you, if you can, hang around for a while after this class and attend the meeting.
Was that the invitation from the SOM group? Or
Yes, that's the SOM group. Originally, this program was in supervision and organizational management, and we dropped the supervision part as soon as we made T-shirts.
And we have plenty of those, please.
Oh, good. Plenty of T-shirts. Okay. What else?
Is there visual presentations?
You must make 2 videos.
Okay, can you tell us about that?
Well, the first one is in Competency 1, and I'm trying to remember what's involved in that video. Was that the one where you presented yourself? And I don't remember the questions that you have to address, but it means basically you've got to find a video camera and some kind of editing software, put it together into about a 5-minute, 6-minute video, post it to your own YouTube channel, and send us the URL so we can look at it.
It's just like if you were a manager at your company or at your business and your supervisor, your boss comes in and said, I need a presentation on the budget by Thursday of next week, and I have 8 people coming from various other departments, and I need you to put our department on Front Street, so to speak. You gotta put it together. They don't tell you how to do it. They don't tell you what you need to do it. You just need to go get it done.
And the task is figure it out yourself. Yes, ma'am?
You don't want that first DC on a flash drive?
No, ma'am. Any reference to a flash drive is something I forgot to omit from last term. Flash drives, I've got a couple of hundred of them over there because people forget to pick them back up. I feel guilty for a day or two, and I don't want to do that.
We still have mine from last term.
Well, for a couple of bucks, I'll let you rifle through them and pick out 2 or 3 of them. But yeah, you're going to create your own YouTube channel, you're going to post your own YouTube, you're going to post it and label it unlisted, not private, unlisted, and send us the URL. That way nobody can see it but you and us.
And some of you saying, what is YouTube?
I hope not. Even somebody as old as me knows YouTube. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. With the writing assignment, if you so happen to read, like if you submit something and you happen to go back, because I'm always double check myself, because I'm gonna admit I'm horrible in grammar,
Okay.
so I recheck myself a lot. So if I recheck myself and I notice something that I messed up, can we email you a new copy?
Don't email me any assignments, okay? If they go through, if you submit them on Canvas as an assignment, they'll show up in the grade sheet, and then we know you did it. But if you submit something and you look at it later and say, oh man, I forgot to change that, I think you can go back and resubmit that assignment.
Okay.
Have it cleaned up. But remember, effective the deadline, it's all done. I mean, unless we check it later and you happen to slip the redo in, but typically, make sure it's where you want it before the deadline. Okay. Anything else? Have you heard the term a high-speed, low-drag manager? Ever heard that? What does high-speed, low-drag mean?
Kind of an oxymoron, isn't it?
No?
It's efficient.
High speed, moving fast. Low drag. What's drag?
No resistance.
Drag is the resistance to wind caused by a surface. A low drag approach means you have very little surface area and the wind doesn't slow you down. You're low drag. A high speed, low drag manager is somebody who's doing things exactly right, on time, ahead of time, impressing everybody, who's barreling down the road towards a great career. I guess the opposite of that would be what? Low speed, lots of drag, right? Dragging all your problems with you. You'll see that term as we go along. Are you familiar with the term to satisfice? You ever heard that? Satisfice, F-I-C-E.
Combination of satisfaction and suffice.
Sufficing to some satisfactory, whose ever judgment level. To satisfice is to do just enough to get by. How do you spot satisficing behavior in any employee?
Mediocrity.
Give me an example.
The deadline is Thursday. You will have it by Wednesday at 11:59.
The person who submits an assignment at the very last moment.
Yes.
Okay. I would spot what I would suspect a satisficing employee as one who arrives just before it's time to go to work, or even a few minutes late, who at 5 o'clock when it's time to leave, they're already buttoned up, coat on, briefcase on, and looking for the door.
Sounds like me.
Mm-hmm. If that's the key, what do you want to do about satisficing behavior? Do I want to promote you? No. The opposite of satisficing behavior is high speed, low drag. How do you demonstrate high speed, low drag?
Always finding something else to do.
Okay, you're being creative, you're looking for new answers to problems, you're looking for problems.
Not complain about staying late.
Don't complain about stay late voluntarily, okay? Come in early. Take on additional assignments. Ask for additional training. Okay? How can we spot satisficing behavior in an assignment that you turn in?
If it has just enough words, word minimum.
You spot it in about 15 seconds. Clearly this person spent about 12 minutes working this up. And just send it in so it would meet the deadline. Don't let that happen. Okay?
Number of words. Last professor I had wanted no more, no less than was being requested. How are we on that here? Is overachieving good?
We are looking for the reflection of quality work and quality depth introspection. Okay? Part of this course, and you will see this particularly with the Caproni text, This is not, here's a textbook, memorize it. Yeah, you got to do that with the Kinnicky text for the exam. The Caproni text is very reflective, self-reflective. And we're looking to, in this course, do two things they don't usually do in a management course in college. One is, well, the basic thing that everybody does is the Kinnicky text. Here's the principles of management, learn the terminology. Okay? The Caproni text is, who are you? Where are your strengths? How well do you know yourself? What do you feel about this ethical dilemma? What do you feel about this behavior in a fellow employee? And we're going to make you try to reflect back to yourself of who am I and where are my values. One of the things we're going to do about 4 weeks from tonight, and this is what I want to encourage everybody to come in, we're going to do the DISC personality profile. I think it's a very powerful tool, very quick to use, that lets you recognize very quickly where are your strengths and weaknesses when it comes to dealing with other people. And if you have some weaknesses, how can you compensate for them? If you have a clash with a particularly different personality style, how can you accommodate that and make it, in fact, a useful relationship instead of a destructive one? So part of this course that they don't teach you in any other college course in management is who are you personally and what drives you. We want to see that kind of reflection reflected in the work that you submit. The other thing is applied skills. We're trying to say, you know, if you're asked for this, show me how you're going to do it. The video is an example. Oh, does that? Yeah. This, you know, just give me this much and no more. We don't want to read nonsense, but we want to read deep, reflective reasoning that shows an appreciation and an understanding of the topic. Okay?
Yeah.
Which is very difficult for a lot of people. People are not used to having to reflect and write at that deeper level. What else?
What would be a quick summary of the personality test? What is that exactly?
There are 4 basic personality types that when you respond to these questions like, you will identify what yours is. We will explain to you what the 4 are, and we will explain how none of us is anything by itself. We're all a mixture, but you may be predominantly in this mode. And if you're working with somebody who's predominantly a different personality style, the way you communicate, if you don't understand those personalities, can really destroy a relationship.
Okay, so it's not like a zodiac.
No, we're not doing zodiac.
One of the things, this is kind of a meism, but when I hear people say test when we're talking about things like personality, it's not really, in this particular instance anyway, it's not a test in that there's no right or wrong. We are who we are, we prefer what we prefer, and it's just a matter of how we apply those things. So I think test is kind of a misnomer in this thing.
So
More of a gauge.
Gauge.
Like an unbiased observation.
Anybody here taking the Myers-Briggs? Okay, it's very similar to that. Trouble with the Myers-Briggs, there's 16 different permutations, and I can never remember my 4 letters. This one's only got 4, and I can remember my 2. Barely. What else?
What are the 4? I'm curious.
In broad terms, and there's a couple of different agencies that promote this by different terminology. There's a driver personality, which is the person who's focused on getting the job done and evaluates himself and everybody else by what have you done and what can you do to prove it. Got a short timeline, get very angry very quickly if things don't go right, really good at coming in and taking control. Driver. Then you have a sort of an analytical personality, which tends to look at all the details and is very meticulous with great attention to detail, wants everything done exactly the correct way. If you roll your socks up and they're all the same dimension and you line them up from dark to light, you're probably one of those analytical type personalities.
If you have OCD?
Not quite, but you could. You know, you could be building a case. I don't know. There is a, what's the term? The I type. What do they call the I? The influencer. This is the person who typically enjoys being the center of attention and talking, likes to entertain, and evaluates how things are by how much attention he's getting and how much influence he can wield.
That wouldn't be any of us.
Yeah, right. They are inspirational, they are positive, optimistic people, and if you're not an I, we call them an I personality. If you're not an I, you certainly want one in your life, because they keep you buoyed up, and they're very reaffirming. And the fourth type is called the S type, sociable. These are fairly quiet folks who are kind of team players. They want to keep things in harmony, particularly between people. And so in that makeup, you have some who focus on getting the job done, and some who focus on the relationships at work. And where do you put your emphasis? And if it's different than mine, then when we communicate, we might communicate meaning well, but in absolutely different languages.
I've found that during work, I work in a restaurant, I expedite, so I'm usually the middleman.
Yep.
Found that depending on who I'm working with that night, I will change from different categories that you were talking about. Like
Really?
influential
Does that make you
versus-
hypocritical?
No, I think I'm finding that other people work better when I'm this way in regards to communicating with them.
I don't know, does it sound like he would be hypocritical?
Yeah.
Two-faced, is this way than that way?
Wouldn't that be the last one, the S? It's just making everything
It might
have
be.
harmony.
I'm picking on you,
Yeah.
because I think what you are, in my terms, you are a chameleon. You change color according to the situation and do it effectively, and that enhances the communication and the performance. Okay? And the point of this whole exercise we're going to do is whatever you are, however you type up, whatever styles, you've got to learn to be comfortable switching into other styles as the situation demands. Not by being false, but by genuinely moving into the same style as the person you're talking to increase that communication without ever forgetting who you really are. So I think you'll find it interesting. You'll probably find that a lot of the reaction to this is, oh yeah, that's me, and oh yeah, I knew that, I just never thought about it. So, a lot going on there. You'll have a competency, I think it's a competency, yeah, or a writing assignment. Competency about that profile, making observations in your workplace or wherever, where you'll have to apply it as well. What else?
Can you tell us your personality types?
Not until we do it.
Okay.
You're going to see us, you've seen us tonight, you'll see us in 2 weeks, we'll be up here doing whatever we're doing. When we absolutely administer the profile, when it's all done and you know it pretty well, then we're going to ask you to type each of us and tell us what you think.
Then you can tell us what you think.
Although you're already making judgments, I can tell in your eyes. Okay.
How will this program make a difference between me and the competition if I complete it?
You'll know yourself better than your competition. That's the first thing. One of the most common reasons managers destroy their careers is they don't understand who they are. They are reactive to whatever's going around them without understanding where they're coming from. Second way it'll make you better, if you use it, is you will interact with people who are more mature and who have much better perspectives on what's going on in the real world than your 20-year-old classmate. We're going to tie that with something. How will this make me better?
Because of the workplace that I have, that I work at, they have their own management program that they can go into, and you don't have to go to college.
Let me say it this way. What you do is terribly important, and we will teach you where we can what you should do. We will teach you how to do certain financial calculations, how to make a video, what you can do. How you do that is what's going to make the impression and determine whether you get to that next level or not. You can be absolutely flawless in everything you do, but you can do it in such a way that you offend people, or that you come across as timid and shy. And in any case, whatever you've done is only a part of who you are. And in this program, you're going to learn more of, or you're going to learn more about how you do things rather than just what do you do. And so we're talking about behaviors and standards. We're talking about writing standards, for example. Hopefully, by the time you finish this course, you'll know that you don't send a report up the line anywhere until it's flawless. Because the first time you send a report in that's full of errors, what happens? You've created an image of yourself as a subpar performer that you have to struggle against from now on.
I'll give an example. At one point, I worked for the Gainesville City Commission, and I had a person who worked for me who I felt was extremely competent, actually. And I was at a commission meeting doing a presentation using the material that the person had provided to me. I thought it was flawless, but in the middle of the presentation, I realized that there were 2 or 3 major errors. So how do you compensate for that? I guess the bottom line is you really need to check and double check, make sure that what you're presenting is what you want to represent you. That's what it boils down to.
We all try to be the best we can. We all screw up somewhere along the line. But I love the phrase, make the stumble a part of the dance. Okay? Just because you stumble and you mess up, don't break down and cry. Just walk away smooth like it happens all the time. I'm used to this. You get to be my age, falling down is easy. You get pretty calm about getting back up and walking on your way. Now you're going to make me think for a while. How is this program going to make me more competitive? By the time we finish talking about job search and networking, my position is if you don't have a job by the time you graduate this program, I will personally find 3 or 4 big friends and kick your ass. Because you should have that job lined up before you graduate. Let me just share a brief story, the John Spence story. John was a student out here. He had failed out of the University of Miami, where his father has a wing of the law school named for him. Not good to fail out of that school. He failed out of there and came to Florida. They said, we don't want you here. You're a lousy student. So he came to Santa Fe. He got to Santa Fe, put his act together. He started study groups. He set curves in the classes. He was my student for 3 classes. Set the curve, just excelled. Went to Florida, majored in public relations. While he was at Florida, we stayed in touch, and I asked him, what are you going to do in public relations when you graduate? And he said, well, the one thing I love in life is fishing. My mom has a big charter fishing boat in Miami. I love to fish. I'm really good at it. I want to get a job in public relations in the marine industry where I can go to fishing tournaments and catch big fish on big boats and rub elbows with rich people and drink rum drinks in the marina. I thought, what the hell kind of aspiration is that? Well, stayed in touch with John, and about 8 months before he graduated, I said, how's it going on the fishing thing with PR? He says, there's fishing tournaments along the coast of Florida every weekend. He says, I've been going to those fishing tournaments. I just show up at the marina, introduce myself to the tournament director, offer to volunteer and help, and he says, what happens is the next morning, somebody always invites me to get on their boat with them and fish with them for the day. And then Sunday, I get on another boat. And he says, when I come home, I've met 6 or 8 tournament fishermen. Well-to-do folks. And I know them on a first-name basis. And I write them nice thank you letters, and I stay in touch with them. I see them at another tournament. By the time John was approaching graduation, he sent 6 letters out. I think it was 6. 6 letters out to some of these people he had met. And said, you know me. I'm graduating the number 3 PR student in the country this year. You know me, my skills, my social skills, my work ethic. I'm looking for a job in the marine industry. If you know anybody who would hire me, here's my resume. And a matter of a few weeks later, the phone rang, and it was a guy from Arkansas, a fellow named Winthrop Rockefeller. And he calls him up and says, we got a little what do you call it, foundation down in Miami, the Billfish Foundation. We need a public relations director because we raise money at fishing tournaments to use for research and sport fishing. Would you like to apply? He went down there, got the job. 2 years after he got there, was promoted above everybody else to the CEO. Ran a Rockefeller Foundation at age 24. How did he do that? He reads voracious. He reads 50 to 100 books a year. Business books, no pictures. He got off the couch and went out and met people and did things and interacted and met, built a network and established his credibility. And then when he wanted to go find a job, it was really a piece of cake. So my point would be that as a result of this program and well before it's over, you should be making contacts in whatever way you can and establishing your own credibility and reputation. And you should be doing job interviews before you graduate. I don't think they push you to do that very much at most of the other schools.
They push you to push out.
Well, they have a career center or something like that, and you can go down there and sign up for interviews, but you're just one more fish in the pond. So I would tell you that one of the things that's going to happen in this course that won't happen down there is you're going to become more of an individual. not just one of the herd. If you do it right. If you don't satisfy us. Okay? What else?
So how did you start out as your first in college experience? You said you were in the Army, but
At 13, I was cutting yards, and I was hiring 11-year-old kids to subcontract for me. I'd get $4 or $5 for a yard, and I'd pay them 2 or 3. I was on my way to millions. Then my parents bought me a guitar and gave me lessons. And then I bought an electric guitar, and I spent high school playing in a rock band. Between those two endeavors, I was the richest teenager in my high school and every high school I ever went to, literally. I came to Florida because my dad was from Jacksonville, and I knew the lakes in this area, and I liked to fish. That's a lousy reason to pick a college, but I did. I finished college, and I had no problem getting a job when I got out of college. I graduated college on June the 13th, and on June 16th, I reported into Fort Knox, Kentucky. I was in the Army, so I didn't have to search for a job. The one thing I did do, after I got out of the Army and did my MBA, I did the graduate work in econ, I came out here and was teaching part-time, and they said, we're going to hire a full-timer. Strickland, why don't you apply, even though we've picked this other guy out? Why? Oh yeah, he's been here for a while as an adjunct. We're going to hire him, but it'd look good if you would apply. Okay. So I learned there were about 13, 14 people that they were going to interview. And it was going to occur over 3 days. And I said, schedule me for the last day. And I came out here for the first 2 days and watched the people going into the interview. And they were all wearing dark blue suits, white shirts, and ties. Think about the job now. What are you trying to do? You want somebody who knows about business, who can teach, who can relate to students. So my day came for interview. I went home, put on a pair of khakis, short sleeve shirt, and a tie. No jacket. And I walked in. I had a lot of credentials. I'd been doing seminars out around the country, so I looked like I knew what I was doing. But I walked in and I gave all that to him. We talked through it. I talked to him about students. And then I had a closing line at the end of the interview. They always ask you, well, it's Billy, been really nice talking to you, or do you have any other questions before we conclude? And I said, yeah, I only got one. What's that? I said, do you see anything in my credentials, my experience, my delivery that says I couldn't do this job? And the silence lasted that long. And finally one of them said, well, no. I said, good, thank you. And I got the job. You can compete for the job, you just got to do it smart. You won't win every one. I'm not going to tell you about my failures. But, yeah.
One of the things we're going to talk about, I think probably next term, next session is basically this whole idea of visual presentation. Roger touched on it just a little bit. How do you dress for success? How are you going to present yourself in these videos that you're going to make, and those kinds of things. So begin to think about that as well. It will be, that should be pretty interesting.
So I got to ask you, is this acceptable business wear? Make sure I get on video. Got it. Do I look like a business person?
I think if you matched it with like that olive green vest.
You think so?
You'd be a little bit better.
No, you look like you're ready to go golfing.
Golfing?
What business you're in? Yeah.
I look like a pimp? Do I care if I look like a business person? No, I've been here for 34 years here, folks. I don't need to impress anybody. I wear this as a go-to-hell hat. If you don't like it, go to hell. But appearance is important. My challenge to you would be here. Wear this hat for the next 3 days and see how you feel. Because the key is not in what you're wearing, it's how you wear it. How you do it. Okay. I got another challenge for you too. You want to talk on people skills? Let's go down to the Oaks Mall, you and me. And I will give you 20 minutes, maybe 30. And I will follow you 20, 30 feet behind, unobtrusively, and I will count how many people you can make smile. How many people you think you can make smile in 20 minutes? Could you? Could you do it with panache? What is panache? Style. Class. If you could do that, you got a good start on interpersonal skills. If you find yourself very uncomfortable doing it, we're going to go do it 3 times. And by the time you've done that 3 times, guess what? You're going to be one of the most sociable, easy to talk to, gracious, involved people. People are going to love to talk with you and going to feel comfortable with you, and you're going to have more people smiling, and your social ability will go through the roof. They don't teach you that down the road. Those are the things that I think make a difference. What else? Are you having a good time? Not really. Nothing else?
I read on the biography that's taxidermy.
Mhm.
How did you get into that?
When my first wife and I separated, I moved to Melrose, and my next door neighbor was a taxidermist, woman, working for a taxidermist in Hawthorne. We got to be good friends, and she decided she didn't like working there, so wanted to start her own business. So I said, look, I know the business part of it. You know the practical side of it. So we started a business, set it up and start, and ran it for 9 years. Taxidermy is a tough way to make a living. So she also trained dogs since she'd been a kid. So she got into dog training, and now she's moved to South Carolina. She trains probably the best Boykin Spaniels in the world. That's a state dog up there, and she's making about 17 times more money, having a hell of a lot more fun. But that's how we got into it. Oh yeah, as old as I am, I got a lot of stories. Just give me a martini and wind me up.
What's one of the favorite countries you visited in RV or just personally?
I love the people in Taiwan, I love the people in Turkey, but for beauty and good friendly people, Austria and Germany. And for beer, no contest, Austria and Germany. Yeah.
Prague has pretty good.
I've never been to Prague, I want to go, yeah. Now that we can. When I was there, that was behind the Iron Curtain.
So my dad grew up.
In Prague?
Yeah.
Really? I hope you will get to know one another. There is a discussion forum on Canvas. You can post anything. And you can say, anybody interested in going out for a beer after class next night, or meeting somewhere and talking about the assignments, and get to know one another. Chances are you're going to be in this program together for at least the next couple of years, and maybe longer, depending on how much coursework you can carry. And the people you meet here, you just might meet down the road. Same thing with the SOM organization. Those folks, some of them are ready to graduate this term. If you can, get it, form some.
May 2nd at 7 p.m.
That's assuming you get through that strategy course. I hear that's a real bitch.
I know, especially when you're teaching it.
Yeah, you got it. And I know you already.
I'm preparing for the class, look.
Ah. Yeah, you prepared for this one. Anything else?
These are not going to be regular Wednesday classes, not every Wednesday, right?
Every other Wednesday, pretty much. Because spring break is in there somewhere, and because we have a couple of exams, it may juggle a little bit. Keep an eye. Check the course schedule. Check Canvas every day. Okay? Announcements, that's where we'll put whatever's going on.
And the idea of these sessions is informal, back and forth feedback. So we expect you to ask your questions, talk about your concerns, those kinds of things. We won't be here regurgitating stuff from the textbooks and those kinds of things.
That said, if there is something you run across in either one of the textbooks that you find provocative or absolutely stupid, bring it to class, let's talk about it. No problem.
At the beginning, you were talking about getting the textbook. I know there were a lot of people that were coming in. What's the best way to get them besides the bookstore?
I go to Chegg or whoever else.
I got mine
You
for like
rent the Run Take Store down the road? Have you tried that? The Run Take right behind CVS.
Chegg is a cheap.
That's what I found.
Okay. I'd buy them online, but I'd get them pretty quick, so you can get started. There's a good bit of reading to do.
And if you're waiting for your order, I think the Kinnicky one is at the library.
Kinnicky is at the library?
Yeah, you can do it's in the reserves, you just have to go to the counter and ask them for it.
For one of the books on Chegg, I'm not sure which one it was, but as soon as you buy it or rent it, while it's being shipped, you get a digital version online. that you can look at.
Excellent.
I'm not sure which book that was that I read, but one of them was.
Good. What other shortcuts are there to this course or this program? This course and the writing course should be taken your first term. Get the HR course out of the way, and if you need electives down the road, we have some HR courses for the majors. Pick up one or two of those is good. Got to take Accounting 2001 before you can take Accounting 3024.
What
You
is
gotta-
accounting 3024 about?
It's a combination of financial and managerial accounting.
I kept trying to, I was like, what is this about?
Do what?
I kept trying to figure out what it was about because I just finished accounting too.
Good. Then the first half of that course you should know very well. The second half is a killer. And it's almost the equivalent of 3 courses condensed into one term. Would you say that's right, Laura?
Yes.
Okay. But you got to take Accounting 1 before you can take Accounting 3024. You have to take that before you can take Finance. You got to take the Finance, this course, the Writing course, Marketing course, and one other before you can take the Strategy course at the end. There's sequences. There's prereqs. Make sure you understand those, get them lined up so you get your course schedule, taking the right courses in order. And between the Managerial Economics course and the Managerial Finance course, you probably don't want to take both those in the same term. Those tend to be pretty intense.
The accounting course didn't have a hybrid, it was just all online. Was there a?
They still meet. Mr. Hooper teaches it, and he meets Monday nights.
Monday night?
Most, not all, most faculty hold class meetings like this. So in whatever courses you're in or going to be in, make inquiry and make sure you know when those classes meet. I hope
And
they're
they are, and most professors have daytime because right now this is kind of like, I work at night. I used to be off tonight.
Yeah, most of us, for the bachelor's program, our meetings are always at night.
But y'all do have office hours where I can come speak to y'all and talk to y'all.
Oh, yeah, we all work at it, well, not all of us. A number of us are full-time faculty here during the day. Some on an adjunct basis. I don't know, you don't have a day class out here this term, do you?
No.
Don't intend to.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Huh?
May make a suggestion to the new students.
Please.
Global economy is not the easiest class, so
That's
you want to.
managerial economics and a
Yeah.
global economy.
It's not the easiest class to take. I would recommend to that semester to take maybe an easy class with that class.
Let me point out that before you take managerial economics in a global society, you have to take microeconomics first. And I would take it just as quick as you finish micro, so you still remember the material. Other comments, Laura, from the program?
I went crazy and took the 4 classes, and I was able to pass with good grades, but I didn't have a life, and you don't want to do that.
Yeah, you
I
give
didn't have not 1 second to spare, and I'm really good about calendars and stuff like that, and goals, and I study ahead, and I do all these things in order for me to learn, but I didn't like that semester. I don't remember much of the semester. I didn't enjoy it. I couldn't participate. Like I'm one of the officers of the student organization, and I didn't enjoy that semester as much as I enjoyed the other ones because I couldn't participate in a lot of activities. So I kind of unlocked myself, and I learned not to do that ever again.
Yeah.
So get yourself a peer mentor that will help you go through the classes. Maybe you might need to have, if you have three different people, or maybe you are lucky and get people who takes the same classes together and work together. It's like he said, we did from the get-go a lot of peer and group studies, and it worked for us so good that some students could only take 2 classes. I was fortunate that my employer pays for my schooling, so I was able to take 3 classes at a time, we did group studies and make such a difference. I mean, the people who participated in the group studies and participating with the organization, because you're gonna get tips from most of the people in there. Oh, I took that class, and this is the way to get over the class. he's Michael, he's the president of the organization, so
This is,
it helps. It helps when you have support from somebody. I could not say enough about, being able to have the friendships, the fellowship with other students, and, most of them has your back, and they will help, you will help each other. But be very conscious about integrity in here. You don't want to get yourself in trouble. Yeah, it's good that you study together and stuff like that, but do not share files, do not.
yeah,
Because-
academic honesty. But let me point out that in the SOM organization, you've got people who've gone through these courses before, and I know Laura is one, Mike, I don't know if you have offered to tutor students who are coming through courses they've completed that they did well in. And so you've got the beginnings of a very reliable peer network through that student organization that really doesn't just help you academically, it makes it a heck of a lot more fun too. Let me pause and introduce Mr. Mike Chartier. He's the president of the SOM organization.
How you guys doing?
Go ahead, Mike.
I guess they've already told you guys what the SOM organization is. Did you guys cover all
A little
that?
bit.
Not really.
Yeah. Basically, we're a business management student organization here on Santa Fe campus. We started when this program actually started. And so far, they're pulling the numbers right now in student life, but it looks like we're probably one of the largest student organizations on campus. Basically, it's one big networking opportunity. Everybody that is in the organization is a business student. Whether they're in the OM program or whether they're working on their AA degree in business administration, some way, somehow, they have some sort of tie to business. So it's a student organization of people just like you. Most of us have been in the seats you're in right now. That's a lot of you guys. I see one or two. Are you all new students?
No, there's a couple that have been here before.
Okay, I know that guy. Yeah. Basically, we're here to help you guys out. We do offer tutoring. We have a lot of events that we put on. We bring in guest lecturers. Pretty important people, very successful people, and they tell you how they got where they're at today. So we have a meeting in this classroom right after this class ends. So if you guys are interested or want more information, stick around and come see us at our meeting. But it's a lot of fun. You get to know a lot of people, get to network, and we go off and we do a lot of fun events too. So that's all I really want to say.
Good. Anything else? I got one concluding comment, but I'll go last. I've watched some of these folks go through this program, and we got some of the best students in the United States here, I believe. We've got students that are every bit as good and much better than coming out down there. We've got caliber people. Most of them are in the SOM organization. Most of them are very helpful, and it's the kind of friends you want to make, not just for the program, but on down the road. We do have quality here. Hope you'll join us. If I don't see you sooner, I guess we'll see you in 2 weeks. Look forward to reading your papers. Bye.